Okay. All right, so who remembers from yesterday what we know about this? Jason?
The number in front makes it taller.
Okay, so this is your amplitude number. So that tells me that my amplitude is -4. And I usually, my amplitude is 4. Never negative, it's 4. I usually make you write down what the amplitude is. So yes, the amplitude of that curve is 4. And all you have to do is indicate that on your y-axis. That's it. All right, move on. Next, what can you tell me about it?
It's going to be 2 times as long.
It's going to be twice as long as the normal sine curve. Now, we call that the period, and a normal sine curve is 2 pi, but this has a 1/2 coefficient on the x, so this one is 4 pi long. Like Eli said, it's twice as long as it normally should be. But now I've done something tricky. I've thrown that in. Why'd I do that? Because I'm tricky. What happens when we put an addition or a subtraction, Sarah, into our problem? We shift it. That's right. And this particular one is going to shift to the right. But remember, depending on where you put that number, either inside the parentheses or outside, it can be a sideways move or an up and down move. This is inside with the x, so it's a sideways move. It's shifting to the right, pi over 3. Now, what does that mean? That means that, by the way, that's called the phase shift or the horizontal shift. And it's pi over 3, positive pi over 3. We move pi over 3 to the right. Now, that means that our sine curve that used to start at the origin, that's where sine curves start, right? Remember the dots at the origin. Now it starts at pi over 3. So I'm going to have to erase this stuff here. So I have my sine curve, my hill and my valley, but it's starting at pi over 3 instead of at the origin. Are you okay with that? Now, I have programmed you. This is my fault. I take complete responsibility. I have programmed you to say, okay, well, it ends at 4 pi. Not this time. Do you see why it doesn't end at 4 pi? Because it doesn't start at 0. The length of it is 4 pi. This is 4 pi. But since I'm not starting at 0, I'm not going to end at 4 pi. Where am I going to end? How am I going to figure that out?
4 pi r plus pi.
Exactly. This is going to be 4 pi plus pi over 3. Now, this is 12 thirds. So it's 13 pi over 3. That's exactly right. You're going to end up at 4 1/3. Because you started at 1/3. Okay? Now, this guy right here is right in the middle of 1/3 and 13 thirds. I need the midpoint, aka average, of 1/3 and 13 thirds. So 1/3 and 13 thirds is 14 thirds, and half of 14 is 7. So the average is 7 thirds. How do you find an average? The same way you've done it since first grade. You add and divide by 2. We don't need to be confused about it. Now, this is the average of these. So what's 1 and 7? 8 divided by 2, 4. So this is 4 thirds. 7 and 13. 20 divided by 2, 10 thirds. Now, I usually, if I have time, stand back when I'm done and make sure everything's spaced evenly. So from 1 to 4, that's 3, right? And another 3, and another 3, and another 3. If I've done it right, they'll always be evenly spaced. Okay, that wasn't so bad. Let's do a cosine. Oh, now wait a minute. The first thing I notice is this is a negative cosine. So remember, cosines normally go from top to top, right? From the top of the hill to the top of the hill. But I'm going to turn this over now because of that negative. And what's it going to do? It's going to go from the bottom to the bottom. So it's going to look like that. But be careful, I almost drew it in. But see that? That changes everything. What does that change? It moves it to the left. So now I'm starting at negative pi over 32. Now I'm still starting at the bottom, and I'm still ending at the bottom, but I'm starting over here at negative pi over 32.
You know, you start at the y-axis.
And then my height will be, my amplitude will be 1/5. That's right. Now, when you fill in that blank, when it says what is the amplitude, be sure you put positive 1/5. Amplitude is always positive. I know that number's negative, but all that negative does is turn me upside down. Now, in order to figure out where it ends, I have to know what the period is. What is the period normally? 2 pi. But I have stuck a number in there, right? So my period is half a pi, pi over 2. Now that means from here, from dot to dot, is pi over 2. Does that mean this label is pi over 2? No, because I didn't start at 0. How am I going to figure out what that ending label is?
Pi over 2 plus.
Exactly. I'm going to take this guy right here, and I'm going to add pi over 2 to it. You're starting at negative 1/32nd, however you say that. You're starting there, and you're adding half a pi. So this would be 16/32, so this label is actually 15 pi over 32.
So would that have to be 8 pi over 2?
No. Let's think about what would the half be. Well, first of all, do you understand that half is the top of the hill? Because you're going from valley to valley. So midway would be the top of the hill. So negative 1 and 15 is 14, and half of 14 is 7. Negative 1 plus 7 is 6, and half of 6 is 3. He's just thinking ahead because he's smart. 7 and 15 is 11, or well, 22. I'm thinking ahead now. 22, and half of 22 is 11. I wish I were on your level, Mr. Myers. Now, I'm going to do my quick check here. How far apart are these? 4 and 4, 4, 4. Now, when you come back, we're going to throw in some secants and cosines, all right? Oh, yeah, wait, time out. Let me figure it out. The timer thing out. So you need to be back in your seats at 12:22. 12:22. Everybody's in your seats at 12:22. Okay, have a good lunch. Maggie, can you get that off?